I remember feeling a massive bump, and then I just blacked out. When I opened my eyes up, I did not know if I was alive or dead. And I remember just seeing the window shield smashed completely, and my head was tilted sideways because there was this pole like this that went right past it scratched the top of my head, and it went past my head. So I'm like this, the car.
Welcome back to the Living Banter Podcast. I hope you guys are having an incredible weekend because we're about to have a phenomenal episode and your weekend's about to get a whole lot better. Today, we have an ex-gang leader of the Chinese Triads with a mind-blowing testimony coming to us from Mississippi in the US, here to share his story with us today. It's Choby Siau. My man, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Great,
Thank you.
It's really awesome to have you around here, man.
Yeah, it's good to be on the air.
Yeah. So how are you feeling today? How's today going for you?
Not too bad. I'm pretty excited. You know, just waking up here. It's early in the morning, but ready to get the day started.
Nice. Quick question while I'm here. Are you a coffee person, tea person? Is there anything?
I am. Coffee, both. I like both. Yeah, but usually black coffee is my day. Is my daily routine.
Americano.
There we go. That's the way to go about it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I'll never get why coffee and tea people can't just be like, you know, we both drink technically dirty water, you know.
Yeah.
Flavored water.
Yeah, that's basically all it is.
So Choby, are you in Mississippi at the moment?
Right now I am in Dallas. I'm in Dallas, Texas right now. Yep.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
How's things that side?
It's not too bad. I mean, you know, the weather's changing right now. It's raining like crazy, man. Woke me up, thunderstorms going on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So getting into this episode, you have a phenomenal life story. Like sometimes it gives me goose flesh of the thing that God's done through your life. But I just wanted to get into it. It's really radical. From what I've seen is you grew up in New Zealand, and then you're currently in the US, but at a point in your life you're in Malaysia. So how did you end up in Malaysia at the time?
Yeah, so both my parents are involved in ministry. Okay. So I grew up in a Christian household. My dad's from Singapore and my mom's American. So I kind of went back and forth from the US to Asia for some time. And then when I was about 10, 11, I moved to New Zealand only for about 18 months. So I was in South Auckland. And after South Auckland, we ended up going to Malaysia. Primarily for my parents' work and all that. So I was in Penang, Malaysia until I was about 18 years old.
Okay. So, if I'm not mistaken, you would have then experienced different schooling systems. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah.
So
and I think that was crazy because we got the British system, right? New Zealand, we got the British standard. Singapore, we have the British standard. America, obviously, we have our. So, no matter where you go, it's kind of like if they're working on this level, and you're coming in, it's like, man, you don't even know where you get plugged in. And on top of that, my mind was really wired differently. The way I comprehend things, everything else. It wasn't really, I had a learning disability and all that. So you throw that on top of it. It was definitely complicated. To say the least,
For sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. So was there a language barrier when you were, going between New Zealand and,
Well, not too much. Besides, a few different terminology they would use, right? Because my household, my parents both speak Chinese.
Okay.
And they both speak English, but they spoke English most of the time, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay, that makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like with myself. In South Africa where I am, the two main languages that I do here are English and Afrikaans. And Afrikaans is kind of like I'm about to offend someone. I know, I can feel it. it's like a weird. It's like the best I can describe it is like
Dutch.
It's like Dutch, like a weird sounding Dutch dialect.
Yeah.
But
that's awesome though.
Yeah, I can understand, like, you know, hearing that. I mean, I predominantly hear English in the house, and it's the occasional Afrikaans here and there when, you know, someone swears or something, because Afrikaans is so many more interesting swear words.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of a part of like South African culture that the Afrikaans words most people know are like swear words.
Yeah.
Which is
and we're quite
interesting.
diverse here in South Africa. We have 11 languages.
11.
So it's always a lot of cultures and things
it's always a lot of weird and wonderful things that happen down here.
That's cool. Yeah, that's one place, that's one part of the world that I've not been able to go to yet, you know. Maybe God willing one day. Maybe God willing one day.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
For sure, man.
It's definitely a place everyone has to visit at least some point in their life. Because, I mean, mountains, beach, like really more, what more could you really want? You know?
Yeah, that's true.
That's really awesome. Same, I'd want to come to the US as well. But Choby, getting into your story, essentially, how did you get into the Chinese triads? And what maybe led to that? I know there's a lot of levels, but go for it.
Yeah. So my older brother got involved in Chinese triads first. Okay, so we moved to Malaysia, and we were in a city called Penang. And it's a small city, but it's an island, right? It's an island city kind of deal. And the whole, you know, we picked up violence pretty quickly, actually, in my own house. Even though my parents were in the ministry, my dad, he had an anger problem. You know what I mean? So anything we would do wrong as kids, he wasn't a talker, you know, he was a beater. So growing up, you know, any kind of issue we saw growing up in the house, it was met by the hand. And so you know, so for me and my growing up, any issue I had, you know, the easy way to think about how to resolve problem is what you see in the household, right?
Sure.
So I started fighting before I got involved in Chinese triads. You know, I was involved in a gang before I joined the Chinese triads, and it was actually to defend my younger brother, because when we were in New Zealand, I'm gonna take a step back. In New Zealand, we were confronted by some racism. Okay, so they just did not like Chinese people, and even though I'm half white, they just see Asian. Like, this dude here, he's a new kid coming up, and it's almost like when you're a new kid in school, you look at the bottom of the feeding line. You know,
there's a big target on your back.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna pick you off like a guppy. You know, and so me and my younger brother were in the same school, and from day one, let me kid you not, day one, it was just like words that were coming out of people's mouth I never heard in my life.
Jeez.
You know, I never knew what a chink was, or a gook, or any of that.
Yeah.
In fact, I had to find out by other guys in the class. You know.
Yeah, you're like, what are you guys saying?
Yeah, exactly. And I had no friends.
That's shocking.
And so, like, you know, they were physically attacking my brother, and I felt like unless I reduced, I just didn't want him to feel targeted. So I started to fight these guys. Even I mean, I fought these guys to a point that they became afraid of me. So I organized these guys I beat up as the first gang. Okay.
Sure.
And rebellion just hit like that. I mean, I just thought that I felt unprotected. I felt God abandoned us, and I felt like responding back to violence worked. So my parents decided to go to Penang, and we went to Penang 18 months later. Like, because when I started to fight, it was like right away. So after 18 months, went to Malaysia, and I just had this hardening in my heart And up until that point, I was always in special ed school. Okay, so that means almost every school I went to, right? I was in a different class anyways because they didn't know how to deal with me because they were like, this kid's 9-10 years old and he can't even read.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because my mind and I was dyslexic, so being dyslexic, the way your mind's working is not processing words the way typical people would process words, right? So I was always feeling like left out, almost like the black sheep.
Yeah.
And I had a girlfriend when I was like, I mean, it was like a puppy love thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
high school love.
Yeah. Like, you know, I was mad young, have this girlfriend. And in Penang, this one guy from my school, you know, he like insulted her to me. And I said, well, you know, we can't have that. We're gonna handle this. And this guy was in my older brother's class. So that weekend I said, okay, you know what? Let's just one-on-one this, man. Let's handle this. So that weekend comes around and I'm about to one-on-one with this guy. And these cars pull up, okay? There's like 3 cars. I don't remember it's 4 cars. They pull up and these dudes come out of these cars. And they're standing around and they're I don't know who they are. And one of the guys walks up and he says to me, he said, hey, I'm looking for Choby. And I said, that's me. He said, well, we're part of your brother's you know, organization, whatever, and we're here to watch over this fight to make sure nothing gets out of hand. Damn. And that was basically the first introduction I had to the Chinese Triads. So I fight this guy, and I was actually more nervous of these guys around me because I'm like, I'm trying to focus on this dude in front of me, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, who are these dudes rolling up like this? You know, they're kind of quiet. They're kind of quiet, and I'm kind of like I'm pretty intimidated.
I can imagine.
I get done, and then the guy walks back up and says, "Hey, listen, the way this works is if we have a member, and if they have a brother, we consider the brothers under our kind of umbrella, and so you know, and we're all brothers here, and we came to look out for you." But they said, the guy said to me, you know, this is who we are. He gave me the name. I'm just gonna name it 04, okay? Because 04 is a very broad one over there. He said we're 04, and we want, if you want to join, we want you to come in. And I said, okay, give me 1 week to think about it.
All right.
Okay, and that day was a Friday. Literally the Friday, 1 week later. I was walking back home from school, and this guy rolls up in his car. Okay, and I remember I was on the sidewalk. He rolls out. He was like waiting for me. Okay, and he rolls down his window and he says, "Hey, Choby, have you thought about it?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll join." And I just thought it was a simple, you know, maybe you get jumped. I didn't know what to think. I wasn't sure how you entered this. I mean, I'm just saying, yes, I'm a kid. And he hands me a piece of paper. Okay. On this clipboard, and he says, "I want you to fill this out." And it was like my name, my address, my phone number, everything. He wanted all my information. And I'm looking and I'm filling this out, and I'm thinking to myself at the same time, I don't know what this is about.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking it's just like a gang or something. It's like a regular street gang. And I hand him back, and he said, "Okay, you know, we'll contact you." So that was basically my introduction to the Chinese Triad.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You know? Yep. And I waited probably about a week after that.
Wow.
And I get a phone call, and they said, "Okay, this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna meet at a restaurant. Here's the name of the restaurant. And you're gonna go to this bus station," and the bus station was right in front of my house, okay? And you're gonna take this bus, and you're gonna go to the restaurant, and we're gonna have our meeting. I'm like, cool. So, you know, the date comes around, And I think I'm to myself, I'm going by myself, right? So I go to the bus stop, and here it comes along. There's like 8, 9 other kids.
Jeez.
Same age, and I didn't realize that they were going to the same meeting until I'm hearing them talk, you know? And they're talking about the restaurant, they're talking about this name and that name, and I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing? And they said, oh, we're going to this for like lunch or something. I said, okay. I said, are you meeting, you know, such and such? And they said, yeah. And so I realized that was like part of the recruitment meeting.
Jeez.
So, and I'm realizing all these guys are probably the same triad as me now. We go there, and I'm with these elders. So we sit down, this round table, and we go to these old school Chinese restaurants. They have these round tables, right?
Yeah.
And they got like this little circle thing you twist in the middle. Okay, so we're sitting down, and they start talking about the laws. They call them the laws, and they're saying, okay, these are the laws that we follow. Okay, this was taking care of certain areas, and they're giving us a breakdown. And in my mind, it's just like opening up to a world I didn't even know existed.
Can imagine, sure.
You know, and I just remember thinking to myself that I automatically though I had a love for it, you know. And I said, wow, I could finally fit into something that I feel wanted in my life. You know,
sure.
And there's a place of identity that I felt like I never had, because in school I couldn't, you know, my level wasn't there of everybody else. You know,
makes sense.
And and the way it got deep for me, I'm just gonna kind of speed things up just a little bit to give you guys a lot of information to talk about. Was you know, I've always been the kind of guy that I'm like an all or nothing kind of dude.
Yeah.
And I told myself that I'm in this, and I'm gonna go full force. So there was another school that we had that was a kind of a rivals of my school.
Yeah.
And my school never really did anything when it came to like confronting them, you know. But I said, you know, I'm gonna put our school on the map. And there was a soccer match between our schools.
Yeah.
And they were kind of taunting our school, this and that. I just said, I have enough of this. Right. So I walk up to their bleacher, and you know, the bleachers, they have your own. If you're a soccer fan, you're on one bleacher. So I walked up on myself to their bleacher, and someone said something to me, and I just gave both middle fingers in the air, and I was like, if you want to do something, let's do this right now, you know, by myself and all that. They didn't like that.
Yeah.
So a few days later, I was at the mall, and these guys found me, right? And gone to a confrontation, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna bring this to their school. So the next day, I go to school, and I remember in the middle of lunchtime, I skipped school. I rounded up my boys, and we had baseball bats and all that in the back of the car. So we go up to their school, and we're just assembled, and we're ready to take these guys on. Yeah. And then what happened was those teachers didn't let anybody out of the school. They called the cops. They called all these people. They called my school, and they said, "Hey, Choby's here, okay, with a bunch of weapons, and they're at our school." So what happened was they sat me down. They expelled me. So that was at 13. At 13 years old, I was expelled. Okay. And when I was expelled, I never went back to school again, because I thought, you know what? I got the Chinese Triads here. This is my focus anyways. And I can't study. So I just said to my parents, everybody else, I'm not going. I'm done. Okay. And I got real close to my elders. And the Chinese Triad, if you can imagine like a triangle, right?
Yeah.
Okay, like a triangle. You have the main boss.
Yeah.
Right. Some triads, they call him the dragon head, whatever. And then the main boss, he has his right hand man. He has his left hand man. Okay, and the right hand man is they'll take care of they're part of the fighting group. Okay, because there's a lot of fighters in the mafia. And then But not everyone in the Chinese mafia are fighters. And you have the left hand branch, and they're like people involved in. They're the more business people. Okay,
Sure,
you could have people. You could have the people that are tied into business. They're lawyers, whatever, and that's their branch. Okay, so for us, we were under the right hand branch.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So I got very close to my boss, and my boss was like, you know what? You're out of school. So why don't you come under me more? Okay, and I'm gonna train you up. I'm gonna teach you everything, because there's in the Chinese triads, right? There's almost like there's an outer circle, a lot of members, but there's an inner circle. Okay, that things happen even within the Chinese triad that people in the secret society, even they don't know about what's going on.
Oh wow.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay, so there's an inner circle. Yeah. So things happen in the inner circle that you'll never know about if you're just a member or whatever.
For sure.
And I thought to myself, that's the group I want to be involved in.
Okay.
I want to be in deep.
Sure.
You know? And this is what my boss was proposing to me. He said, I'm gonna make you my right-hand man, even though I was younger. A lot of these guys under him, okay, they're older than me. And in Chinese culture, in Asian, age has a big deal, right? But he says, you know what? I'm gonna groom you. I'm gonna teach you everything, right? And so he was the one that really had me shake hands with different people in different Chinese triads. So I know, okay, this area who runs it, and I know that guy. Okay. And this guy who runs it, I know that guy. And so I was always under this dude, always traveling with him, doing just getting really, really deep.
Yeah.
So what happened is that those guys started having some internal conflict. My elders started having internal conflict. All right. And there was another mafia that was really growing in their power.
Okay.
All right. And they were actually taking machetes and they were chopping up our enemies. So we had rivals, right? Wow. We had rivals, but we were hearing that our rivals were getting chopped up by this other crew. And we're like, we know our rivals are dangerous too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
And we're hearing about these other guys that are coming in and they're hacking them up. And I just know, it's a matter of time before I run into those guys.
Yeah.
Because my island is only so big. You see what I mean? And my island is gang infested, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
So it must be really
every day.
Too.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and so many people are involved. So my leader said he wanted to make an allies with that group. He wanted to team up.
Yeah.
Right.
So what happened was we had a dinner, okay? And a lot of these meetings and all that, even with allies or rivals, we settle it around the dinner table.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
And we go to have a dinner. So my elders are going. There's like 5 of them.
Okay.
And I'm the only young one. Okay, so I'm going there. Yeah, I'm the young one. I'm sitting down, and this guy comes by himself. Okay, this dude, his name, I'm not gonna name his, but anyways, he was this guy. He was I was calling him Tai Lo. Tai Lo in Chinese means he's the boss. He's like the older brother. He's the boss. Okay.
Dang.
So this Tai Lo came and sits down by himself. Okay.
Yeah.
And my boss is saying, hey, we want to allies. If you know you scratch our back, we scratch your back. And the guys, and then the Tai Lo says this. He says, listen, if you guys get a problem, you call me. I'll settle it for you. But he's like, if I get in a problem, you don't need to come. And I'm just like, man, this guy got some muscle or something.
Yeah. This guy's massive.
Yeah. But his one thing was, he said, why don't you guys hang out with me more and we'll establish a relationship.
All right.
Okay. So we're hanging out with this guy quite a bit. Okay, 6 months goes by, and me and that guy, that Tai Lo, we're getting pretty close.
Yeah.
And at that point, you know, I'm the right-hand man of my boss. means I'm already leading like 30 some people. Okay. 30 some people. I'm already leading this group that's under my boss. So anytime there's a problem with these 30 some, they call their leader, they call me.
Yeah, they call you.
So every time there's an issue, I'm going down. And let me tell you, man, sometimes you got a problem, it's 2, 3 in the morning, and you know what? You got to get out of bed and you got to get you got to find a way to get there.
You got to get it sorted.
You got to get it sorted out. And phone's blowing up. So this guy, the Tai Lo, one day we're hanging out, all of us, okay? And in front of my boss, he says to me, he says, Choby, listen, I want you to join my group. He was trying to recruit me in front of my other guys. And I was looking at my other guys, and they didn't say a word.
They didn't flinch.
They didn't even flinch. And I thought, man, this Tai Lo right here, he got real power.
Yeah.
Because these guys I'm under
for sure
aren't even saying nothing. And I just said, for me, I'm a loyal dude. And I said, you know what? I'm not gonna join. I said, I made an oath and I'm in it. We could be allies in all this. And he said, okay. He said, but I want you to know that the door is open for you.
Yeah.
Some time went on. And there were just massive problems with my elders. And again, that Tai Lo tried to recruit me, and he said, listen, he said, we got the biggest ecstasy dealership in Penang. He said, we got white collar crime. What you name it, we got it. And he said, if you go to jail, I will make sure that you come out. You don't got to worry about anything. And I finally said, okay, I'm in. And then I joined that one. And that one was that was like the big leagues. Because these guys right here, they were so strong. And that Tai Lo, he was a very smart leader.
Yeah.
What he was doing was he was recruiting already branch leaders from other tribes to be under him. And at that time, we really became a super group, really. So everyone under him was already a branch leader. So I had about 7 people in my own rank, and we all had groups. And he gave us all territory.
Sure.
And so it wasn't like going from ground up. It was like you come in, you could take this area, you take this area, and that was it.
Wow.
And so that's how. So it got really, really deep. And at that point, I was probably about 15, 16.
That's crazy.
And you're already that deep.
Yeah, really that deep. Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, when did you realize that you had to get out of this way of living? When did you realize that that had to change?
Yeah. Okay, so I knew the spiritual world was real. Okay, because in the Chinese triads, most Chinese triads have a designated temple they go to, and they also see spiritists. Okay.
Yeah.
So they would wear things around their necks.
Yeah.
And around their waist, and they would sometimes there'd be spells on these things. Okay, there'd be spells. So they would, for example, they would wear the monk. Okay, would get like tiger hair and put it in these glass jars, and they wrap these, and they'd be like a pendant, and they wrap them around their waist, and they would go and they would get tattoos from the monks. Okay. So the monks would come, and they're tapping into, they're doing the old school like bamboo kind of tattoos, and they're blowing spells into them.
Oh yes, yeah, I've seen that.
Right?
Before.
Yeah, and they go through trances, and basically what they're doing is they're inviting, the god of war to come in.
Oh wow!
So when they would fight, bro, I had friends that they would try to get shot by machete. They would not get harmed. And so in my mind, I knew the spiritual, there was something going on there. Right?
For sure. Yeah.
And when I would sleep, it was crazy because after I joined that big one, right? Okay, after I joined that big one, when I would go to sleep, I started to see demons in my sleep.
Sure.
And they would not
That's
leave
crazy.
my sleep. Okay. And so I knew that the spiritual world there was something going on there. I knew it was real.
Yeah.
Okay. At the same time, I had this resistance against Jesus because I felt like Jesus never helped me. In fact, I felt abandoned. Right.
Wow. Sure.
And then a few years later goes by, and my parents, man, they're like, you know, they're God-fearing people.
Yeah.
You know, my mom got the word of the Lord, you know, and
that's awesome.
You know, like,
love that.
And my mom says one day, "Hey, God told me to leave." You know, and I didn't realize that at that time is that the Lord actually told my mom that I was gonna end up dying. Okay.
Wow.
So she packs up, they leave, and I thought to myself, you know what? I don't really know if I want to leave Malaysia because it's my home.
Yeah.
Everything I know, my whole identity is in Malaysia. But I decided to go back. I decided to come to America for a little while. And while my family settles in, I was gonna go back and just live in Malaysia. And at that time, I had a girl in my life, and you know,
yeah.
when I was in America, man, I felt like there was something going on with this girl. Like something was happening behind my back. I could tell
you just had the feeling.
You ever talk on the phone, you're like, I know something's going on, but you don't really know. That's the feeling I had, man. And
something beyond the surface,
something's going on. So
I get you.
I called my boss and I said to him, I said, hey, can you find out if something's happening with her? And one day later, he calls me and says, yeah, he's cheating on you. And this is the guy. He knew. He found out quick. Jeez. And I was so upset, man. And I knew, and that guy was like an old friend. And he knows how the Chinese triad works, right? Because one of our laws in the Chinese triad, right? One of our laws is we could never ever go to a brother's girl. Okay. So, you know, and girls aren't even allowed involved, not in our triad, but we can't cheat on one of our, it's just you know, you'll face consequence for that.
Yeah, that's the law.
It's something, that's law.
Okay.
So I called her up and I said, listen, I'm buying a plane ticket back and I got a present for him. You know, so me and her were done, and I was gonna go back and I was gonna chop him up. I knew where to do it. I was gonna put him in the jungle and all this. And at that time, my life in a sense was kind of falling apart, because at that time I was a leader in the Chinese triad, a place of power that I wanted to get to, right?
Right.
At the same time, when I got there, I'm thinking to myself, how come I'm not happy? I got a missing piece in my life.
Missing something.
There's missing something. Plus, when I go to sleep, I'm not sleeping at peace. You know, like I'm seeing these spirits, and
crazy.
I feel empty. I feel like, man, like I feel like lost. Even though, if I go to Malaysia back then, man, it's like you're like a celebrity, because the Chinese triad leaders over there, it's not like you're just it's almost like they look at you like a celebrity, right? And I'm just feeling lost, man. And so, anyways, I buy my plane ticket, and then I'm leaving my house, and my mom is standing there at the door, and she's looking at me, and she says, son, I want you to know I love you. And she said, I don't know if I'll ever see you again. And she said, I told God to do whatever it takes. And when he said that to me, man, I just felt like something was rattling in my heart. I felt like something bad was gonna happen, man.
Yeah.
You know. And I get on the airplane, and I had this little Bible, okay, that I would carry with me. I couldn't read. I couldn't read, but I had this little Bible. I would just take for superstition, because I was like a superstitious dude.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of these guys are bringing like all kind of tiger's hair and all kind of. Surely the Bible could do something, you know?
Yes.
So I brought this Bible. I'm flipping through it, because in the airplane was a place I would freak out, man. Okay, because I didn't have control. I was a man that relied on my own control. You know.
I get you.
And at the same time, when you're that far in, okay, you have death on your mind all the time. Because even the people in the Chinese mafia, they know, bro, it's a matter of time when it's gonna come back around. They know it. You know, they always say, even the Chinese triad, the higher you rise, the harder you fall. And I'm looking at this Bible in the plane, and I could see these words stand out to me. Okay, and it said, in 3 days, I will heal your wounds. And I'm thinking, like, man, I'm seeing this, and it engraved in my mind. And I said, God, if this is you talking to me, because my walk with God, there was no walk with God, bro. My understanding of I was just completely alienated. And I said, in 3 days, if you can take away this anger that I have from this betrayal, I will let this go.
Wow.
I get to the airport, and my boys are at the airport, and they're ready to go. And I just said, listen, I need some time. I just need some time. Give me a few days. And every day I remember, man, I was upset. I was angry. I was ready to attack this guy. I mean, I flew halfway around the world just to go after this guy. And I'm ready to release, but at the same time, I remember what I saw in the Bible. Okay, and here I never been able to read, so I'm thinking, man, this got to be something crazy going on. I don't really know. Maybe I'm seeing something I don't really know, but I'll find out. The third day when I woke up, I felt this peace, bro, that I've never felt. And here's the thing: I was living a life of agony. Right. I was living a life that, like, man, I can't sleep at night. I got PTSD. No matter where I go, I'm carrying a knife around. I mean, I'm just freaking out.
Yeah.
And here I am for the first morning I wake up, and I don't know how many years, I just feel this supernatural peace. And that was something that, like, I knew that I could never give myself peace. So I'm looking at it like it came from an external. Right?
For sure. Yeah.
It became external. So a few weeks go by, and I spent about 1 month in Malaysia. But the last week before I left, there was 3 things that rocked my world that happened. I was at a club, and we're ordering bottles, right? So we're just having a good time. We're drinking whatever, and there's only 3 or 4 of us, and my we're spending some time there. We're having a good time, and then one of my friends comes back and says, "Hey, Choby, some of my rivals are here at the other side of the club." And I'm just, at this point, man, I'm just trying to chill, you know.
You're just enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I was enjoying myself, you know. I'm like, man, I don't want to ruin this. Supposed to spend all this money and all this. And I said, listen, I really don't want to fight tonight. Okay. So the club closed at 3:00, and we left. And we always go to eat after we drink.
Yeah.
And so we go to this, this place to eat. We're eating outside. There's just tables outside by the street. And we're just sitting down, just eating. And this car pulls up, and that rival was in that car. They come out, and they sit right next to us. My boy's like, what the heck is going on? These dudes following us or what? And I said, okay, now we're out of the club. Let's just take care of this. So we get up, and we just start fighting these guys. We're taking the chairs. I mean, we just rumble. Okay. And one of the guys gets beat up really bad, and we left. So the next day, and so there's a place called Gurney Plaza, in Penang, and Gurney Plaza and Gurney area was a territory that my boss gave to me, that we established our territory. We took it over,
Yeah.
And that's a place that was under our control.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's a huge mall, bro. It's a massive mall. So I get a phone call the next day, and my right hand man, because I also have a right hand man under my branch, right? And so my right hand man calls me, and he said, Choby, those guys you beat up, they're here. And I'm like, man, okay.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I'm living, man. I'm like, man, they want some more. We're gonna give it. I call my leader.
Yeah.
I call my main boss. Okay. And my main boss, he's a psycho. He's a psycho. I'm serious, man. This guy's a psycho, bro. I call him. I say, hey, this is what's going on. Okay, I'm coming. So he's on. My main boss is on the way. I got my guys going on the way. I got guys there. So, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
When the boss comes, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
The boss is there.
He's a big man. Yeah.
He's the big man. He's the one in control.
Yeah.
Right. So my boss gets there before me, and there's a snooker center on the top floor. Yeah. And he says, okay, let's meet up here. I want to figure out what's going on, and then we'll confront these guys. So I'm with the two of the guys that was with the night before. They were with me, okay, and we're going to the elevator to meet my boss and the other guys upstairs.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going up there. So I'm in the elevator. I don't know exactly who's there as far as the other group, right? I'm not sure who's all there. And I press the elevator button, and the elevator. I'm gonna stand there, wait for the elevator to come down. Okay, and I got nothing on my mind except to meet my boss. And when the elevator, okay, before it comes down, I already see some guys behind me, and I'm looking behind them. I'm looking at how they're dressing. I'm seeing if these guys are part of a different crew, because I'm kind of on high alert too.
Yeah.
Because I know that people are there, and I'm waiting for something to happen at any time. So I'm looking behind me, and I see some guys behind me, and they're looking at me, but they don't really see anything. I don't know them. They don't know me, and we're all good. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this elevator opens up in front of me, and the whole crew is inside the elevator.
Wow.
So I'm like sandwiched right now between the guys in front of me, and they're talking to the guys behind me, and they're walking out. And I could see by the way they're dressing, their whatever their attire, that they're definitely a part of a society, right? And they're walking, and as they're walking out, I'm walking in the elevator because I'm thinking I gotta see my boss. I can't do anything anyways because he's waiting for me. So they walk out, and as they walk out, one of the guy we beat up really bad, he was one of the last ones walking out, and he turns and he looks at me, and I look at him, and that's how everybody knew who was who at that moment. So now we're in this. Now we're in the elevator, okay, and words are being exchanged, and I mean the sensation was really from maybe like a 20% on edge to like it was at 100 right away.
Jeez.
Because I know these guys. I know these guys aren't coming to talk.
Yeah.
Right. They don't come to your area to talk. And I kid you not, bro. I have been in gang situations my whole life. Kidnap situations, stories I'm not gonna go into today, but crazy cases, bro. But at this moment, something was different. I felt that God, that there was a power in the air, like an external power in the air that got my attention, that even though I'm facing this gang, I'm facing this, I can feel the presence of God there.
That's
I can feel, and also a dark presence, almost like every time when I go to sleep, that dream I would have about those demons, I can feel them very strongly. But now I'm actually awake though. So in my mind, I'm thinking, bro, if I'm awake and I'm feeling this, I think I'm gonna die right now. That's the only thing I could put in my mind.
Yeah.
And that's freaking me out. And that's the only. I'm trying to focus on this gang, but I'm thinking about what's going on at this eternal. It was like a weird. It's hard to put the words, but it was a lot going on one time.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So I took a. So these guys stopped talking because one of the guys stepped forward, and I knew he was their boss. And this guy was a gangster, man. You could tell by you could see murder in the eyes when you see some people. It's really picking up a spirit, right? And I'm looking at this guy in the eyes, right? And he is exploding, right? He is so upset, bro. And he takes out this machete that he had in his pants, okay? And we're in the middle of the mall. And he holds it to our necks, and he's like, I'm gonna chop your heads off. And and at first he's trying to kidnap us, okay? He's like, come in the parking lot, all this stuff. And so a lot of stuff was going down at one time, and with the machete he had in the air, I remember I took a step back and I just said, Jesus, because what I remember was my mom would always tell me my whole life, call on Jesus. There's power in the name of Jesus, okay? And here I am, man, and my own power did nothing but get me here, right? My logic got me in this situation. So obviously I need someone to call on. I need something to rely on. So I said, Jesus, come save me. At that moment, someone came through that crowd, held the guy back with the machete, and that guy was actually going to meet, he's part of my group. He was going to meet us upstairs, and he actually knew that leader.
Oh, wow.
I'm talking, if he was not there at that moment, bro, it would have been it.
Yeah.
I walk away from that situation. Okay, my boss talked to their boss. We kind of squashed it, whatever. But the whole time, I'm thinking about, dude, I almost got myself dead.
Almost died.
I almost died. And this whole revelation of how Jesus, and I'm linking all this together. I'm like, bro, this can't be real. I'm trying to convince myself it was a coincidence.
For sure.
Because if I believe that Jesus, the name was powerful, that means everything I'm doing in my life is completely wrong. So I'm trying to battle this in my head. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. That's crazy.
So this next day, I'm at the club, okay, and I'm popping ecstasy. I'm dancing, all this, I'm raving, whatever. And that same spirit, that force filled up my area, and I'm feeling that spirit of death again. And then I'm also sensing a presence of God.
Wow.
And in my mind, I thought, if this would happen yesterday, something's bad is gonna happen to me right now. And literally within about like a few minutes after that, I was overdosing. I don't know what was in that pill, but I'm getting dragged out of this club. I'm sitting on this chair and I'm looking in the sky, and my body is like lifeless. I remember that I can feel life creeping out of my body.
Oh.
Wow.
I'm talking like I can feel it, and I can see myself in my spirit back at my body. And I remember just looking up, and I just said, God, save me. Save me, Jesus. And I sobered up like that.
In that moment.
Instant, I sobered up because of Jesus, the name of Jesus. Right? And I get up, and my friends are like, hey, you okay? And I just said, hey, I called on Jesus. I called on God. I think God saved me.
Saved you.
Right? Yeah. And so I'm just and so all this kind of hitting me, man. I'm just like, wow, man, like this name is doing something.
That's power.
There's power. Okay? And then that was the second thing. First was the machete. Second was the drug. And then a day after that, my friend picks me up, my right-hand man.
Yeah.
Okay? He picks me up. And I remember before I entered the car, I heard a voice and it said, put your seatbelt on. And I want to tell you something. I don't ride on my seatbelt. Okay, we're in a third world country.
Yeah.
But we're not afraid of the cops.
You just go.
Yeah, we get in and we're ready to rock and roll, you know? And my boy knows that. He knows that we're just doing what we want to do. And
it's not normal to put on your seatbelt.
It's not normal, okay? Damn. So my friend's looking at me and he's like,
oh, that's
awesome. I remember he said, you don't trust my driving, Choby? Almost like in a laughing matter, you know?
Jeez.
And I said, no, you're going to put yours on too. Okay, he said, whatever. So he puts his on. I put mine on.
Wow.
And my boy is flying. Okay, and we had another car in front of us. So our friend's in that car. My friend's trying to speed up to him. And the road hits a turn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Right?
Ooh, I can see where this is going.
man, and my boy's going so fast. He loses control of the car. It starts to fishtail like this.
Oh.
Okay. And let me tell you, man, my whole entire life flashed before my eyes.
Wow.
Like from the time like I was young. And I always heard people would say that, you know, like near death situations. Like I don't know if it's part of God's judgment. I don't know what it is. But you really do analyze everything in a split second.
Hi, Mom.
Sure.
Right? Because I knew no matter how fast we hit or what we're done.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking in that split second, flying to Malaysia, okay, looking in the Bible, seeing what I saw, then the machete, then the ecstasy, and now I'm here in the car, and we're about to have this massive accident, bro.
Jeez.
Sure.
I remember feeling a massive bump, and then I just blacked out. When I opened my eyes up, I did not know if I was alive or dead. And I remember just seeing the window shield smashed completely. And my head was tilted sideways because there was this pole like this that went right past it scratched the top of my head and it went past my head. So I'm like this, the car.
Jeepers.
And literally just missed you.
Yeah. It almost took my head. And I look to my side and my right-hand man, okay, he's going through a seizure.
Holy cow.
His eyes are rolled back. He's going through a seizure and his blood is just coming down his head.
Man.
And
jeez.
I'm thinking, I got to get him out of the car. So I took off my seatbelt and I opened the car and I hit like 7-8 feet. I don't know exactly how high it was, but it was like probably 7-8 feet. And I get off the floor and the car, what it did is when it fishtailed, it jumped off the sidewalk next to the road. It flew into the air.
That is crazy.
It went airborne and it landed in this
stuff.
it landed in this tree. And the tree had 2 branches like a Y.
Oh my
and it was sitting in between the massive 2 branches. And the front of the car hit the roof of this village house.
Jeez.
Okay? So that pole that came in was holding up that roof.
Oh my word.
So it was like it went airborne. It missed the 2 branches because it would have hit a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. The impact would have killed us.
Just a bit.
Yeah,
but it was snug in the tree. Okay. I get these villagers came out. They bring out my friend, and we're on the street waiting for the ambulance, and he's bleeding all over me. And at that moment, I can feel the presence of God, bro. Okay, and I just knew it was God's hand, it was God's mercy that intervened right then and there.
Wow.
And I said, if God is that powerful, he can save my friend. And I really heard a voice that really said, pray for him. I started praying for my friend because he couldn't feel. He said, I cannot feel from my shoulders down.
Oh my word.
Yeah, he was saying, he said, please tell my parents I love them. Like he was going in and out of consciousness.
Sure.
Ambulance comes. We go to the hospital. Okay, we go to the hospital and I'm in the hospital room. And all I know is that my life is going to be completely God's from here on out. Because I saw the intervention of God. No one can ever tell me God does not exist. Because I've seen calling on his name, how he can manifest. He can manifest in the physical. So now I'm realizing that my whole entire life of being a gangster, which was my life identity and life goal, I was completely on the other side.
Wow.
Like I was not on the right side. So I go back and I fly back to, okay, my ticket comes and I fly back to the States.
Yeah.
I remember going to my house and just locking myself in my room. And I remember getting on my knees and just saying, God, I've seen your power, but I can't read. I don't know how to read, but I got to find out. I said, Lord, I got to find out how to read this.
How to read the Bible. Yeah.
You know, I was like, man, I said, Lord, I gotta figure out you're real and that's your truth, but I got a block here.
Yeah.
But I can't even read nothing,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I remember just saying, God, heal me, and I would open my Bible up, and I just believe, I had a sense of faith that God was going to do something.
That's awesome.
And I started opening the Bible up, and I started to read, bro.
Yeah.
The words, for the first time of my life, okay, I'm 17, 18 years old, first time in my life, okay, special ed teachers could not deal with me.
Jeez.
But here I am with the power of God, and I can literally, physically feel this like tingling going on. Wow. And I'm telling you, man, the Bible, the Word of God, was the Holy Spirit taught me how to read.
Jeez.
And I read the New Testament. I read the New Testament 7 times in 6 months.
Wow.
I was gobbling it up.
Wow.
And I'm looking at the Word of God, and it's piercing me. Because I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, God's saying that, it's wide is the gate that leads to destruction, and many enter through it, and narrow is the gate that leads to life, and a few find. I'm reading all this stuff, and I'm thinking, dude, my life is doomed, man, unless I walk with the Lord, and I'm just like soaking this up, and he starts to deal with me. He starts to convict me. And at the same time, those things that I'm seeing and those spirits that would taunt me, they started to disappear. They started to disappear. And I started to wake up with that peace every day. And I'm thinking to myself, I almost felt like a newborn baby, because what I'm doing is I'm actually experiencing what it means to be born again. Right? Like I'm learning, wow, this is what it means to walk in God. This is what it means to live by God's word. And that was when it really started to transform the way I thought. And it even physically, I was smoking crystal meth, and I could not break crystal meth. Okay. But the day I gave my life to the Lord in the hospital, I never smoked meth again in my life.
Wow.
It was something that God did he did immediately. Okay. And there was some things
healed you one time.
He did it on point. There were some things in my walk with God, like all of us, experience that we gotta walk it through. There's some challenges, right? That it's a journey that you're going to be battling, and I faced that too. So I'm not saying it's all easy. It's not all magic potion, right? Yeah. But God does work miracles, man. Right? 6 months into it, okay, I can just feel the Lord telling me I need to go back and quit. Okay, and that was the last thing on my mind, because I was thinking to myself, that's not one thing I bought. That's not part of the bargain.
Yeah.
I don't think I can go and face my leader and all the guys I recruited. I built up a massive, I organized our team. I really advanced the group and all that. And he was telling me, I want you to go back and tell them you're done.
Dang.
Wow.
And I was just like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
But honestly, and I was thinking, am I hearing God? Am I whatever? And I would pray. And honestly, every day I felt that in my spirit.
Every time.
You got to go back, So I did that, man. I went back. I flew back just to quit. And I met my Tai Lo, had dinner with them. And in Chinese Triad culture, we gotta give a red envelope, okay, with Chinese writing on it.
Yeah.
And you have to get on your knees to quit. That's part of the first thing. And you gotta give that envelope with 2 hands, and you gotta basically bow down.
Yeah.
So after dinner, I said, I got something for you. And I got on my knees, man. And I'll be honest, man, I was nervous. Okay, but the moment I hit the moment I hit my knees, man, and I gave him that envelope, I just feel a peace of God.
Wow.
And he picked me up and he said, why do you want to quit? And I was able to share with him what the Lord did.
What happened? Yeah.
Sure. And he said, and I wasn't sure if he would let me out or what would happen, but God gave me favor with him, and he took the envelope. He gave me the money back, because we got to put money inside there. Yeah. Okay. With our number, we have a certain number that we put in the envelope, and that's our Triad number. Okay. So that number I put inside the envelope, he took it out and he said, listen, if me and you are brothers, then I won't take the money. But he said, I'll take the envelope and I'll call the office. We have a file.
Yeah.
Right. Like you got like a profile in the office.
Yeah.
and he said, I'll call the office and I'll tell them that you quit formally and we let you out.
Yes.
Wow.
And I tell you what he left, I felt so much burden leave my life.
Wow. That's crazy.
You know, here I was. I mean, that's how you know God is real, because nothing could convince me. I would say I'm a tribe member for life, right? Like I would say we take oaths, blood oaths, and we say we're in this for life. We will never betray anything. And I would say that. And here I am. I was once a promoter, a recruiter, and a leader in the Chinese tribe, and here I am. Now I'm happy, and I feel like the best thing in my life that I've ever done was quit because of what Jesus did in my life.
Wow.
Right? And that's how convinced I am about the Lord. Right? And then I had a gang meeting with all my guys, and I sat them down, and they're excited to see me because they're thinking, man, Choby's gonna get right back into the swing of things, right? You know, and they're ready to tell me all the things that's going on within the organization. And I just say, listen, guys, this is the reason why I'm here. Because the way I live my life, what I've done with you guys, how I've influenced you, I said, I found something else. I became a Christian, and Jesus Christ, he changed me. Amen. You know, and he's my leader now. Right? I said, he's my leader now. And they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle it.
They were confused. Yeah.
They were mad confused. You know? But it was an opportunity to share with them. And some of those guys I never saw again in my life. You know, years down the road, there were some that, you know, that I still stayed in contact with and stuff like that. But at least I got an opportunity to be able to share with them. Yeah. You know? And so that right there was my test. That's some of my story right there.
That is honestly incredible. I mean,
it's unreal.
For me, also one of the big things is the fact that they actually, you know, allowed you to leave and like had the respect to say, look, you know, this is your choice. You may leave and all that. That's honestly one of the craziest stories I think we've had on this podcast.
That's the craziest story I've ever heard in my life.
Jeez.
That's totally God breathed. Like, there's no other. Yeah.
The thing is, like, I'm stunned.
But speechless, yeah.
I just really don't know what to say. That just shows the power of God right there.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean,
you're welcome.
The thing is, whether you believe in Jesus or God or anything at all, your testimony shows, you know, proof that there is a God, there is Jesus, there is something out there. I mean, personally, Caden and myself, we're both Christians. We believe this thing, but just hearing this testimony it's honestly unreal. It's
so awesome.
It's also very humbling, I have to admit. It's just wow. And I really do want to thank you for coming on, like, and sharing with us.
You're very welcome. Yeah, you're very welcome. I mean, you know, like you said, it's very humbling because, you know, so much of life, we're taught that is what we can do for ourselves, right?
Yes.
But the Bible also says, though, in Proverbs, that there's a way that a man thinks is right, but it only leads to death, right?
Yeah.
And so we get in that position, like you said, that humility, like, it's like, without God's intervention, without, you know, having God come out and step into our life, you know, it really is a thing that we can't boast about it. We can't boast in ourselves. It's really, we can only boast in the cross, because it's only by his grace that we can get to know him, that we can be saved, that we can have a new life, you know?
Amen.
Indeed.
Done. Choby, thank you so much for joining us. This was phenomenal. And guys, to our audience, his link to his YouTube channel is going to be in the description. I really recommend that you go listen to some of the stories. We could only cover 1/10 of it, of all of it, but it's so awesome. Choby Siau, thank you so much for joining us on the Living Banter Podcast. This was awesome. Guys, like and subscribe to this channel. This is literally my favorite episode. I'm not going to lie.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad to be on here.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for doing what you're doing, too. Keep it up, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Get the word out there for sure.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, man. No worries.
Cheers, man. God bless.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, God bless
See
you
you
guys.
guys.
God
Okay.
bless.
Take care.
Cheers.
Have a good weekend.
Okay.